You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-Mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-Mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Monday, 27th day of August, 2018. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you had a chance to spend some quality time with the family. NASDAQ just hit 8,000, in case you didn't know. Yep, it's all the news all the time. So here it is, Monday, the beginning of a new week. Let's take a look. Well, if you're returning, welcome back. If you're here for the first time, a special welcome. If you cannot see the chart, go to our homepage, cfrn.net. On the right-hand side of the page, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. 30 seconds, you'll be registered through the end of the month. You only have to register once per month, but you do have to register once per month. That gives you one-click access to the show each day. While you're out there clicking around, click over to youtube.com/CFRN/live. During the live broadcast, we have a dual stream. In case something ever goes down with the go-to, you can go over to the YouTube. Fair enough? Fair enough. Okie doke. A little bit of news here. Binance has introduced a new incubation program to support early stage startups with the exchange's resources to help jumpstart their ideas. Now, the Binance Labs incubation program is a 10-week on-site program designed to help teams deliver a product or service with a market fit. It provides each venture with $500,000 in seed funding in exchange for 10% of their equity. It also offers access to mentors from the scene and a network of founders. In addition, the program also provides support services so that the teams can focus just on building their products and services. Hold for me one moment, please. Hello? My apologies. Now, it also offers to mentors from the scene and a network for founders. In addition, the program also offers support services so that the teams can focus on building their products and services, not raising capital. The first batch will be held in San Francisco, and while the next locations have not been announced yet, the company is said to be particularly looking for places in Africa and Asia. We're looking at different cities across the world because blockchain and crypto are international. We see problems and opportunities in different regions and different ways to leverage the blockchain. Something we talked about for quite a while. The world is going to become a much different place. If you think entrepreneurs are only born in America and the United Kingdom, well, that's not true. There's a lot of savvy entrepreneurs in Africa, in Asia. However, these folks have never had access to world capital markets. Ever. And now, some of them do, others soon will. And the entrepreneurs in America and the UK better wake up and shake a leg, because there's continents out there nipping at your heels. Get after it. With glaring examples of fiat hyperinflation in their region, it is no surprise that many people in Latin America think cryptocurrency can replace the current financial system within the next decade. A survey conducted by peer-to-peer credit network RCN polled 890 Argentina-based users of Ripio, the Latin America-based wallet with over 200,000 users. Nearly a quarter of the surveyed respondents believe blockchain will take over the financial system in 5 years, by 2023, while nearly 40% said it will take over in the next 5 to 10 years, by 2028. I had not planned this, but I put it out I think last night or the night before, and because I just mentioned the H word, hyperinflation, I think I should share it with you if I can find it. I wrote something like, I didn't write this, but I think you should read it. That would be really based upon me finding it, of which, as you know, there's no guarantee that that will happen. Seems like I put it in the we got so many channels here, channels there, channels everywhere. Here we go. I think this might be it. Is America prepared for hyperinflation? Well, is anyone ever really prepared for hyperinflation? Gold on Friday rallied by $19.30 to settle at $1,206.30 per ounce, its largest up day in the last 5 months. Go, go. Friday evening, the CBOE released its latest Commitment of Traders report based on settlement data from this past Tuesday, August 21st. According to the new COT report, hedge funds as of Tuesday's settlement were short a record $22.72 billion worth of gold, which is a new all-time high and 5.8 times larger than their trailing 12-year average gold short position of $3.92 billion. Hedge funds have increased their gold short position for the last 10 consecutive weeks, including 6 straight weeks of new record high short positions. Are you hearing this? Are you hearing this? Hedge funds, as of Tuesday's settlement, have a record negative net long position of minus 78,579 contracts, which is 3.24 times larger than the record that was set at year-end 2015, when there was 24,263 contracts, when gold had bottomed at 1,051 per ounce. Over the following 6 months, gold exploded from its low by $316 or 30% to a high of 1,367. Gold appears to have begun what will most likely become another epic short squeeze. In an attempt to estimate how many shorts covered on Friday during gold's rally of $19.30 per ounce, we look back at instances of gold gaining between $19 and $20 per ounce in a single week between COT reports to see how much its net long position increased during those weeks. Since 2006, gold rose between $19 and $20 per ounce in a 1-week period, always ending on Tuesdays, 15 times. During those weeks, hedge funds increased their net long positions by an average of 12,830 contracts. Therefore, estimates that the managed money net long position could have increased on Friday by 12,830 contracts to 65,749. The managed money net long position has now been negative for 6 consecutive weeks and has never been negative for more than 8 straight weeks in all of history. Over the next 7 to 12 trading days, expect to see additional short covering and long buying of approximately 65,749 contracts to take the net long position back to even. This alone could be enough to drive gold back to $1,300 an ounce. Gold is clearly in a new bull market that began in December 2015 when gold bottomed at $1,051 per ounce as the Fed began its current rate hike cycle. It's amazing that despite the negative net long position becoming 3.24 times larger than December 2015, gold's lowest settlement price last week was $1,176. As recently as January 2017, gold declined as low as $1,128 per ounce, with a net long position that was still positive by 38,923 contracts. Based on this ongoing trend, when the managed money net long position once again returns to between 200 and 300,000 contracts, we would be looking at a gold price of between $1,500 and $1,600 per ounce. Again, not written by me, written by the folks over at, I can't remember their name. I get their newsletter. Something inflation. I'll look it up for you so you can go check them out. All right, that's my story. Sticking to it. Michael will come now, if he will, and grace us with a recap of all that happened in the live training room.
Excellent. I would be happy to.
When he's finished, we'll chat with John, take a look at the concierge trade alerts, answer your questions, see what Elon's up to. He's kind of changed his tune just a little bit, but I'm tone deaf, so it doesn't really bother me.
All right.
Okay, let me get your chart up there for all the world to see. And there she goes. Okay, sir. I will be here when you're done.
Excellent.
All right.
All right, I'll get started. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, the 27th day of August, 2018. Well, let's start out with this. If you have not taken a free trial with us, then go to the home page here at CFRN.net, and right over here on the right-hand side, it says 5-day free trial. Apply.cfrn.net. Click on that. You can also go down here where it says free 5-day trial and click on that. You can go here and click on that. You could even go all the way down here and click on that. And when you click on any one of those, you're eventually going to be brought to this page, where all we ask for is your email, your first name, how you found us. Click on submit. Once you hit that submit button, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click the confirmation link, you will not get a free trial, because we don't know you took the free trial until you click that confirmation link. Okay. Now the spreadsheet. Once again, in the spreadsheet, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you'd read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today, we had no news events today. I mean, almost globally, there was nothing in the news. So we were happy to get our goal for the day. We were up just about 200 at one point, and we stopped out on crude toward the end of the session. But that said, today's the 27th day of August, as I said, and we made 6 ticks in the euro. We lost 2 ticks in crude. We made 10 ticks in gold, put us at plus 117.50 on the morning session. Today it took 38 minutes and 3 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $107.50. Took a total of 7 trade opportunities today. On the month now, we're up $2,087. That's over 18 days, averaging $115 per day. On the year, we're up $23,186. That's over 156 days, averaging $148 per day. $148 per day. Okay, that's the spreadsheet. Next, we'll jump into what we did. All right. Here in the pre-market, there was some pretty good activity in gold. We had a nice long opportunity right there. That was pre-market. Then the markets opened up. We didn't have anything to start out with. Okay. And right here, we didn't have any divergence down here. That's why we didn't go for anything there. When we finally did get a trade opportunity, and this right here is like perfect trade opportunity. We had a couple of them today where the MA1's the right color, the cycle's the right color and at a good angle, and you have a lot of divergence. In this first trade right here on the gold, we picked up 7 ticks. The second one we picked up 3 to put us at plus 10, and that was where we got the goal for the day, I think. No, it isn't. This is where we got the goal for the day. The 7 ticks is where we got it. Then we got 3 there and a break even there. Since then, let's see, did I miss one here? I think this was going into the high of the day. That's why I didn't do anything. Okay, it changed directions during the break, gave a shorting opportunity right there, and that was it. And that was it. Okay, on the euro, there was a long opportunity right here that I missed. That was right after the open. I missed that one. That would have gotten us the goal for the day by itself. But we ended up picking up 2 ticks here and 4 ticks here to get us to plus 6. There was a momentum long trade right here that I missed. Stop would have gone on a break even on that. Would have been a break even trade. And then we didn't have anything going into the break, and yeah, this didn't put in a lower swing. That's why I wasn't interested in that. And well, now it's put in a new high on the day, but we don't have any trade setups. Okay. Crude has a long, or had a long from right in here if it was trending. I'm not sure if it was. But what we did with Crude is nothing during all this garbage, and then Crude had a big leg down, pulled back, didn't give us a trade setup, didn't put in a lower swing, changed directions, had a bump right here where it closed up above that trend line. That would have given you a little bit of profit or a break even. Then we picked up 6 ticks right here on this leg down, and then we stopped out there to put us to -2 on Crude. During the break, not really anything you can do here, and we wouldn't need a lower swing in here, which we did finally get. And then changed directions and gave a bump off the BBC right here. Stop would have gone to break even. That would have been a break even trade. Okay, that was Crude. Now the ES. Let's see. The ES started out down here. Yeah, I don't know why that thing's like that. Didn't give us a trade setup in here. Okay. And then it was going up into the zone. We couldn't do anything. Came back down into the zone. We couldn't do anything. Then it was just all jammed up with this zone for the whole morning session. It started moving up, but then it was hitting the high of the day. It still is hitting the high of the day. This is all-time highs right here, 28.99. It's going to be at 2,900 here in just a few minutes, I believe. But this up close right here would have been a long opportunity. Momentum long opportunity would have been a break even at this point. Okay, so even though the ES is punching in new highs, new all-time highs, there's still not a lot that we could do. Okay, now back to this thing. All right. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the home page at CFRN.net. Right over here on the right-hand side, it says 5-day free trial. Apply.cfrn.net. Click that, or click this right here, free 5-day trial, or this, or the other one down at the bottom. I forgot what's going on with that. Or the other one down at the bottom where it says start free trial. Click any of those, and you will be sent eventually to this page. On this page, all we ask for is your email, your first name, and how you found us. And you click on the submit button. When you hit that submit button, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link, okay? You must click that confirmation link. If you don't do that, we don't know you took the trial. So you got to click that. All right. Let's see. Spreadsheet. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, again, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 27th day. It's Monday, the 27th day of August, 2018. We made 6 ticks in the euro. We lost 2 ticks in crude. We made 10 ticks in gold. Put us at plus 117.50 on the morning session. Today it took 38 minutes and 3 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up 107.50, and we took a total of 7 trade opportunities. On the month now, we're at 2,087. That's over 18 days, averaging $115 a day. On the year, we're at 23,186. That's over 156 days, averaging $148 per day. Okay, 148 per day. And that, my friends, is a recap of our morning session today. So, Dwayne, if you would like to take it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, yeah. Studio A overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park, then go right ahead.
I'll do that, sir.
Okay.
Recap of the recap.
Today it took
thing again. Oh, but it still worked. Okay.
Yeah, it's back.
Yep. Okay, what are you saying now?
It took 38 minutes
Mm-hmm.
and 3 trades.
Nice.
To get to 107.50.
Nice work if you can get it. Oh wait, you can. Okay. Beautiful. 107.50. Well, that's a fine job. Fine job. Any questions in the chat box?
Nope.
So, as you know, we just began week number 3, post-beta, as they call it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning the lingo. Oh, yeah. Week number 3. And so, we had a couple carryovers from last week. But that's hard to see. That's easier to see. Oh, maybe it's the glasses.
There you go.
Maybe it's the glasses. Anyway.
I got a new pair this weekend.
So we had a couple carryovers. One was a no trigger. One reached the second target. It's $400 per contract. And then, let's see. Reached first target, headed for second target, and then I came back and it hit the final target. And then this reached the final target, still open, no trigger, reached the final target. Then that one got stopped out, and then that hit the final target, S&P 5 points at $50 a point. Then a no trigger, and then reached target, $50 a point, 3 points. And then final reached first target only. And that's still open. Reached the target, still open, stopped out, still open, reached the target. That's a correction, and then that starts today's stuff. So this is just covering the carryovers and what went down last night. So I just thought you might like to see that. And there you have it.
That is very nice.
Yeah, things
Good work.
Gone quite well. So let me jump over to the numbers. I didn't do the numbers today somehow.
No, you skipped the numbers.
Let me just run through those. Now these are the cash markets from around the world. We'll do futures here in just a second, like Michael was doing. The Dow's up 269 points. NASDAQ is up 75. S&P 500 is up 23. Russell 2000 is up 9. We do have movers and shakers. The Dow's up over 1%. The NASDAQ's right at 1%. The S&P's just under 1%. The Russell 2000 is over half of 1%. Crude oil down a nickel, trading 68.67 last. Gold up $3.70, trading 12.17 last. The Asian markets, big green day there. Wow. Nikkei up 197. At the close, the Shanghai was up 51. And the Hang Seng ended the day up 600 points. That's a little over, that's almost 2.25%. And that was 2% for the Shanghai and almost 1% for the Nikkei. Europe, color of the day continues with the FTSE closing up 14, the DAX up 143, and the CAC up 46. Now the DAX, that puts it up over 1%, and the CAC up almost 1%. Any idea what all this green is about, Michael? Did you track that down this morning? I heard you say we had no
everything
news.
was at the high of the day this morning. It was really, that's unusual that everything is at the high of the day.
I heard something about Mexico and the U.S. putting together some kind of a trade deal.
To build a wall.
Let's see. Dow jumps more than 250 points. NASDAQ hits 8,000 as U.S. and Mexico strike a trade deal. Okay. Stocks jumped on Monday as the United States and Mexico closed a new trade deal. Investors also digested reassuring comments from the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell on the central bank's policy tightening path. Okay. Caterpillar outperformed. NASDAQ Composite climbed 1% to an all-time high, breaking above 8,000 for the first time. Now, did you say that all the indices put in historic new highs today?
The Russell and the ES did for sure. I didn't notice if the NASDAQ did, but I was looking at all the other markets. I mean, the euro, gold, and crude oil were all at the high of the day at the same time, which is unusual.
Trump says that this trade deal will be called the United States-Mexico Trade Agreement, getting rid of the NAFTA name. Okay, NAFTA's out the door. The name NAFTA had a bad connotation because the United States was hurt very badly by NAFTA, he said. Trump added that the deal with Mexico is also very special for farmers and manufacturers. The comment comes after the Mexican economy minister said Sunday both countries were close to resolving key differences on trade. This would pave the way for a new deal between the two longtime trade partners. We've continued making progress. Trump tweeted earlier that a deal with Mexico was, in quotes, looking good. Caterpillar was up 2.8%. Wow. Boeing up 1.3%. Their stocks are considered trade bellwethers because of their large exposure to overseas markets. Shares of Ford, General Motors, and Fiat Chrysler also rose. The peso rose 1.2% against the dollar. But it still hasn't triggered our alert yet. But that's okay. We'll be patient.
Be patient.
Anything else you want to cover, need to cover, would like to cover? I don't think.
There's not much going on. I mean, we had no news events really globally today. It was
because of that,
weird.
and it was due to a banking holiday.
Oh, the pound or the England has a banking holiday today. I should say.
That's what. All right, and so, I mean, is there like a religious holiday, and hence the banks are closed? Is that how it goes?
I don't even know what the holiday is. Let me go look. Hold on a sec. Hold on just one cotton picking minute.
Not only do we not treat trade news, folks, we don't even read it. No.
Here it is. U.S. banks will be closed in observance of the summer bank holiday. Summer bank holiday.
Huh.
That's UK banks. I'm sorry. UK banks will be closed in observance of the summer bank holidays. Most forex brokers will remain open for the holiday except Christmas and New Year's Day. Stock markets and banks have slightly different holiday schedules. Banks facilitate the majority of foreign exchange volume. When they are closed, the market is less liquid and speculators become a more dominant market influence. This can lead to both abnormally low and abnormally high volatility. There you have it.
You know, I was talking to a gentleman Friday in a mentoring session, and we were talking about the different markets, and of course I brought up the S&P because, you know, everyone sees that as the most liquid, and it really is on most lists. He goes, but I thought the currency markets, the forex, he goes, I thought that was the biggest and most liquid. And I said, well, it is and it isn't. And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, that $1 trillion a day figure that they trot out, or whatever it is, what they don't tell you when they're trying to get you to sign up for one of those accounts is that banks, interbank exchange accounts for, I don't know, something like 90%, 80-90% of all that volume. And retail traders don't even have like access to it. You couldn't play if you wanted to. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's between banks and other major financial institutions. So yeah, and then there's that business with the dealing desk and I explained that to him as well. He goes, well, you know, I was really intrigued by it all, and then it just kind of went away. And he says, now that I'm hearing what you're saying, and I'm kind of, oh, you know, I'm going to have to open the show talking about Senator McCain.
Yeah.
You know, I voted for him when he ran. He was, you know, all that controversy over what really happened at the Hanoi Hilton. Have you ever given any thought to any of it?
I have not.
Yeah, I have. I mean, I guess somebody might come out and write a book now that he's gone, and because he can't refute it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that would be kind of shameful, but you know, he served our country both on the battlefield and on Capitol Hill, and he was a hard-working guy. I mean, he worked right up until just a few days ago. He said, you know what, no more treatments. And I think he passed like 2 days after, or 3 days after he stopped the treatments, if I read it properly. Because that stuff, the radiation and the whole thing, I mean, it really, I saw it with my brother, I saw it with, you know, my dad, and it really takes the wind out of your sails, to say the least. And the amazing thing to me when I went with my brother to the oncologist was I found out that the chemicals that they were going to give my brother in this drip bag, he has to sit there for like hours and this thing goes drip, 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 are the same drugs, exact same drugs they were using back in the 70s. You know, you hear about, you know, cancer research and all the advances being made, but when it comes to chemotherapy, the same stuff for 40 years now, I guess. That
You got to think.
didn't sound like a real big advance.
No.
Anyway, that's
With all the money they're dumping into that, and all the money they're making on the actual medications.
Yeah.
You know, the insurance companies are paying through their nose for this stuff.
Yep. And that one fella that just got in trouble, that Shkreli, the young kid that was, he's only like 30. He's been the head of he's run 2 hedge funds, or been the CEO of 1 or 2 publicly traded companies. And when he bought this, when he took over this last pharmaceutical company, he found some kind of rare type drug that certain people with cancer have to take. And he jacked the price up from, like, I don't know, I'm just pulling numbers out of the air here, from like $7 a pill to $700 a pill.
Mm-hmm.
And his rationale was, anybody that's on those medications, got insurance, don't worry, it's not coming out of their pocket. And so that earned him the name the bad boy of pharma. And then all this other stuff came out, and I think he might be in jail now. I know. So,
well, people like that should be.
I guess. So if you took 98 and you subtracted 85, what would you be left with? 13?
13.
That's right. You're really good at that math stuff. You should maybe go pro.
You think?
13 points. Yeah. Okay, so no sign of John yet?
Oh yeah, John's out there.
Oh, I'm sorry. John, we're going to bring you live, sir.
Okay. I just opened his mic.
Okay.
There he is.
John, if you're there, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks. That Shkreli guy, it was an AIDS drug, not cancer.
Oh, was it an AIDS? Okay, all right.
And John McCain, you know, it's kind of interesting. He didn't have 9 lives, but he had about 3 or 4. He nearly bought it about 3 or 4 times, and managed to avoid death, sort of like miraculously. So it's kind of interesting that, you know, the fact that he avoided death, that he went on to do what he did, was pretty remarkable, really.
Well, John, what was the controversy over the Hanoi Hilton thing? I mean, some
well,
people say
look,
he's a hero, and other people say, you know, not so fast. And I don't really know the truth behind it.
Look, you know, when he was captured, his arms were broken, I think, and he was kind of at death's door. You know, I believe his heart almost stopped. And just at that moment, the Vietnamese got word that he was an admiral's son, so they put him in a hospital. That's when he, you know, the first time he survived a bomb explosion on the USS Forrestal. The second time he got, you know, survived this, and I think he had another skirt with death beyond that. But, you know, that kind of saved his life. And to be fair to him, he had the opportunity they were going to release him after 3 years because of the fact that he was who he was. Mm-hmm. You know, as grandson and son of admirals, and he did a couple of more years, you know. Right. So
that was it. They told him he could go home, and he said, "I'm not going home without my men." Right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So, you know, he certainly is a hero from that standpoint. Yeah, you know, it's kind of unfortunate that Trump got into this spat with McCain because he, you know, was kind of so unnecessary. I think he lost a lot of points you know, he alienated himself with a lot of people doing that. And, you know, he could have easily made amends in the last week or two. Just, you know, and it probably would have won him some points. And it's regrettable that that didn't happen. But, you know, he did send out a tweet, you know, on Saturday, you know, saying that, you know, he's paying his respects, etc. So, but it really was I mean, look, to be fair, McCain was just as bad, because he could have been behind this dossier thing. He was part of it. You know, I think he carried it up, or he was part of the chain that ended up getting it to the FBI and that. So, you know, maybe that's what Trump's so upset about. But anyhow, it's history now. So, but it definitely, I mean, what I'm really getting at is, you know, this guy, you know, had 3 lives, and he got to the Senate, and he was the one guy who torpedoed this healthcare deal. And that was unfortunate, because really it was, you know, I think if Trump had been a bit nicer to him, he would have voted in favor. And that was a pretty big deal. You know, I mean, I think it would have been an extra notch in Trump's hat. And it was very unfortunate that that didn't happen, because I think that they would have had a better health deal sooner, as a result of it. So
I heard last night that he, like just a week ago, or maybe I got that part wrong, but he was on The View with his daughter.
He was. Well, I don't know, about a week ago. I think he was on a while back.
Okay, all right.
Because I think he was in pretty bad shape recently. Nobody's seen him for a while. So
I guess we already talked Friday about Robin Leach. We talked about that, correct?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. We've got, look, the biggest thing going on today, by the way, the NAFTA deal, or the new U.S. trade deal in Mexico, that is a pretty big accomplishment, and it looks like it's going to be very favorable for everybody.
Do you know what the terms of it are? I mean,
I think we'll know in due course, but I think they'd have to be a lot better than they were, and actually it allows for growth of, you know, even more auto production, but presumably in both countries, which is definitely a positive. The Mexican market's not at an all-time high yet, but it's getting pretty close. It's up very sharply on the week. The U.S. markets are, the Dow is, remember I said a while ago, you know, 8,000 has been my target for a while on the NASDAQ. We hit it this morning. I think I said that, you know, talked about that when we were 6,500 or so. We had a target of 8,000. Now our next target's 11,500. I think where we are today, given how strong this market is, look, I'm not ruling out a correction here that could develop over the next couple of months. It's starting to look like the Senate the Republicans might win a few more seats in the Senate. They're still at risk of losing the House, but they might scrape through. I think if they do, that's going to be very positive for the markets beyond November. Even if they lost the House, it might not be a big deal for the markets, because the markets actually like it when the House and the administration are in different hands. But if the Democrats go after this impeachment thing, I mean, it makes the Senate, more seats in the Senate makes Trump virtually bulletproof. And if the Dems go after the impeachment, there'll probably be a landslide majority by the Republicans in 2020. Because
how big a deal, John, do you think this thing is about his financial guy being given immunity? And
I think it's all trumped up. It's all concocted, because apparently the guy did the deal. Apparently that's not the guy did apparently Cohen did the plea deal months ago. They just put it out in the same week as Manafort, just to make it kind of a 1-2 punch. And it's just all, you know, look, it's gone. It's practically forgotten already. But it was a big, you know, it was a big feeding frenzy for the fake news, and all the impeachment artists, you know. So, and the more they do that, the more likely they're going to lose.
Impeachment artists.
Yeah,
that's good. I like that. Yeah.
Thanks. So the thing that's going on today that's particularly noteworthy is the dollar is breaking down. We're already on a massive weekly reversal and a multiple daily reversal, and it's starting to look like we're heading towards a monthly reversal now of pretty monumental proportions. And the palladium, which I've been highlighting on this show, I mean, I've been highlighting it since the bottom at 815 or somewhere 820, 815, wherever it bottomed. It's at 943 right now. It's been to 945. We just got a little sell signal, 945. Up 16 on the day. It's look, if we close anywhere around here by the end of the week, you're going to have the mother of all monthly reversals, possibly, I guess, of all, just about anything you can think of. It's just one of the most powerful reversals ever. And if the dollar cannot rebound from here, it definitely helps the gold picture. We're already, we're not sort of setting the world on fire just yet, but we're creeping higher, we're clawing away higher. It could accelerate higher during the week, possibly, but we're on track to make a double weekly reversal on gold and all the metals in general, and we're potentially on track to, if we can get up, maybe above 1225 or 30. If we get up to 1250, we're probably on a huge monthly reversal, which could be epic. Now, as I've said on this show before, long before this happened, that there's something going on here with these metals that is obviously an anomaly. We've had a breakdown. The metals have not been behaving like they normally do when the Fed raises rates. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. The first reason is we started off from very, very low levels, record low levels, if you like, in interest rates. So it's not the same as what happened in 2005, where the Fed started raising rates from a higher level, if you like, okay? Mm-hmm. And they did it, they were raising rates almost every meeting, once they started raising the second or third time. And I think the fact that the Fed didn't raise rates a few times this year caused that strength in the dollar, along with the lira and the sanctions and all the other things that have sort of been a bit dollar favorable. But most of those are kind of reversing now. And the fact that the emerging markets have made a massive reversal here in the last week or two, so has the Chinese markets we've been talking about, it really bodes pretty bullish for the whole world economy and world markets over the next few months. It could actually send a lot of these emerging market indices to new highs, including China, because now you've got the Chinese stimulus. That's actually bullish for gold. Chinese stimulus is very bullish for gold. The fact that China was tightening before may have been bad for gold. So it appears as if a lot of the negatives are disappearing. Now, as I've said before, how do you explain, and we're in the exact same position with gold today. We're way off the lows of 2016 bottom, both in stocks, gold stocks, and in price. But the triples are, because they kind of get manipulated around, they actually made new lows. So there is some divergence, positive divergence in that actually. But how do you explain, and I mean this, that we are at all-time record low sentiment in gold right now, and the hedge funds and the speculators are more short than they've ever been in history of gold.
Oh yeah, did you hear that piece I read? I'm on a newsletter, John, from the something Inflation Association or something, national.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty smart.
I read that article. Yeah, I read it to the
Can you send us some? Actually,
yeah.
I'd like to read
I'll copy it over to you.
Yeah. So now, look, there's only a couple of times in history that this has happened before so starkly. And here's the amazing thing. When we had the, I'll send you these charts tomorrow so everybody can see for themselves. Okay. When we had the biggest move up in 30 years off the 2016 lows, we actually went, the hedge funds and speculators went more long than ever in history. They were longer gold and silver than in 2011 when gold peaked and silver peaked. So that in itself is actually something very bullish. It tells you there's a latent demand for gold as soon as the next bottom is in. Okay, that's the first thing. Now we've gone the opposite. We've gone from being, the pendulum swung in the opposite direction to extraordinary levels. In other words, we're lower than the 2008 lows. We're lower than the 2001 lows when gold went up 7-fold. And we're lower than, probably 87, the 1976 lows. So this is an all-time record deal. What are the parallels to that? I'll tell you what they are. In 1994, December 12th, when we made our call on gold, looking for 1,800 and ultimately more than 10,000 when we 11,000, which we finally got by 2000. The sentiment on the market, we were only $300 from an all-time high, or 300 points from an all-time high in the Dow, but it was such a bad year in 94 where we went sideways for a year, a lot like we've been going for the last 6 months in gold, that the sentiment just went lower than the depression lows. And I mentioned this on Wall Street Week. I couldn't believe my ears when I heard it. And that's what made me super bullish on the market. And so we're at the same extreme today as we were on December 12th, 1994. You can go and look at it on the chart. It's virtually the low of the year, and it's the low before a move where the Dow tripled, more than tripled, from 3,300 all the way to 10,000. Okay. Mm-hmm. The second time was 20. I think this happened again in 2003, 2002, 2003, right before the Gulf War, and then the markets rallied into 2007. And the third time, well, then there was the 2009 lows, but even though we had made one of the biggest short positions in the market, the market was way higher by 2011 in the very similar way we are with the gold, including in terms of time. So October 2011 was the biggest short interest in the history of the New York Stock Exchange. So even though the market had gone up, people were shorting more and more stocks, and one of them was Peter Thiel, and it's smartest guy in the world, one of the smartest guys in the world, but even he got it wrong. Because remember, from 2009 to 2011, I think you can attest to this, probably walking around Phoenix, it was a pretty lousy economy. There was still a lot of shuttered buildings and shops, and people could not see the recovery coming. Remember that? Yeah. And then you had the European crisis, and that's what really torpedoed the sentiment. So you had virtually all-time records, low sentiment in 2011, and you had biggest short position in the history of the stock market. It took 3 years to unwind that short and get it to where most of the shorts had covered, right? Guess where we were when that happened? We were at the top of 2015. It was about December 2015, right before the 2016 crash, the December 15, or maybe it was 14, so it was 3 years, 11 to 14, and then the market started correcting. Guess what? By February 2016, with that short position was almost back to where it was in 2011. What was the result of that? 10,000 Dow points higher. So do not underestimate where we are today with the metals, because something pretty epic is probably about to happen. And nothing would help the markets more today, and nothing would help the economy more than a weaker dollar. And that may already be starting to happen. And a weaker dollar ultimately is going to be incredibly bullish for gold and silver. So, when this thing, look, I can't tell you how quickly things could rally. There could be some testing, but from this general area, I've already noticed some divergence. I'll explain that to you tomorrow when we have a look through these charts, but they're very telling. And you know, we're in uncharted territory here today. We're actually in uncharted. Much. You could argue the same thing in 2011, in October. You could have said, you know, I mean, look, people were pretty bearish in October 2011. I mean, it was really looking grim. The Dow had gone down almost. The markets had dropped almost 20% in a matter of months, and it was really looking like you know, we could roll over. Now, one of the interesting things about the Fed raising rates and this idea that we've put out a few times about the Fed might raise rates a few times in the next few months and then actually start lowering rates again and stimulating the economy more next year ahead of 2020 is actually a kind of it's something that you know, actually could affect the dollar next year. It could affect a lot of things, but it's ultimately going to lay a very, very powerful, you know, very strong foundation underneath the metals, because you know, the metals like stimulus. Now, the other thing I wanted to say is, look, from 2005 to 2007. Gold and the stock market went up together. Now, that's not been happening this year, earlier on this year, but the fact that it happened on Friday, and we're in this strong upward phase right now, and gold and silver, in other words, gold and the market actually moving up together both Friday and today, could be caught. And how did it happen? It happened on the Fed comments, right? Mm-hmm. Right. In other words, the market may be saying, you know what, I'm feeling more like 2005 in both gold and silver. And here's the interesting thing. This market is so powerful. I mean, when you start hitting new all-time highs, it usually, especially multiple new all-time highs, where all indices are hitting on highs, it usually means that there's a year or two more upside in the market. And look, we're hitting all-time highs in the mid-cap. I mean, you know, when did that last happen so dramatically as it is today? It happened in 2011 and going into 2012. So, and where are we today? We're, you know, 6 years later, the market's still making way, way higher highs. So the advanced decline is making new highs. That, you know, the market doesn't usually, the market, you know, you have to go through a year of the advanced decline index not making new all-time highs, at least a year before the market tops out. In late 90s, guess what? In the late 90s, the advanced decline line never made new highs for most of those years when the market was going crazy. So you know, we're in an extraordinarily bullish environment, and there's a lot of things going on. You know, I mean, this Tesla thing with Musk. This woman, she's a ARK investment or something like that. She wrote this letter to Tesla trying to say that the stock could go to $4,000, you know. So that's probably one of the reasons why he pulled this privatization deal. Listen, this guy may have said that, but I would consider always having some upside exposure to Tesla when it's in an uptrend, because you never know with this guy. He might pull off a similar stunt, but it might be for real this time. And
now, you've read his comments since that he's decided it's better to keep it publicly.
Well, I think he got influenced by this shareholder. You know, Tesla's best hope is to do what she's proposing, which is to become more of a software company. Remember, when the automation thing really takes hold, and within a few years, and automated driving cars come off the production lines, everybody's going to want the upgrade, and that's going to be a huge employment driver, because people, people will be booking upgrades with service stations all over the country,
Right.
and the people, and who's gonna profit from that? The leaders in automation, which is Tesla, Waymo, the Google thing, and a couple of others, and they're going to make an absolute fortune out of upgrading 1 billion vehicles around the world. Maybe an upgrade costs $1,000 or something. So you can imagine I mean, that's what's that? That's a huge amount of, that's a trillion. That's a trillion right there, $1 trillion in revenues from this. So there's that. And we haven't seen the flying car concepts coming out from Tesla yet. That's probably the next big surprise. Things like that. So this era that we're in, I mean, you have to start thinking about that we're in. Remember, we've been in a kind of a because of all the negatives that came out of the Obama administration. The economy's been held back, and it's being liberated right now, and we're seeing the results of that. And but it's coinciding with the space era that's dawning on us, and the automation era, and the flying car era that's just around the corner, along with self-powered homes, air conditioning type power units, so we don't have to hook up to the grid anymore, things like that. There's going to be there's all these major disruptive innovations just around the corner that could be absolute game changers. And who'd have ever thought that more Americans are working today? You always think that automation is going to put people out of business. Well, there's a lot of automation in the world today, and yet there's greater employment than ever in history. I think that's a big sigh of relief to a lot of people. And so and manufacturing is the best, the most important factor in getting the U.S. back to where it was at its peak, around 2000. If we can get those 4 or 5 million manufacturing jobs back, which we're certainly going to get, we've already got more than 750,000 or so. It's under Trump, and if that starts to go to 2 or 3 million here in the next couple of years, it's going to be very bullish. And if you can get the manufacturing jobs back to 18, 19, 20 million by 2024, that would be phenomenal. So there's actually a lot of huge, potentially tremendous news, coming, positive news, not the least of which is that global wealth is going to make everybody more prosperous. So I think that you have to, when you see Australia, almost 30 years without a recession, and China almost the same, why couldn't it happen in the US when you've got this kind of business-friendly environment, and where tariffs are hopefully knocked down to near zero? These are all incredibly positive things that certainly, and we're in the longest recovery already. We're in the longest bull market. We're in one of the longest recoveries. It looks like there's another couple of years to go, maybe 2 or 3, before we have some trouble, and maybe in the early 20s. And we're going to have some trouble in the early 20s. That's almost inevitable. But beyond that, we could have another run, right into the 30s. And there's these guys out there who are very bullish. Yeah, we put a sell on it a while ago, just when we came on. There's a real chance that we could reverse today, by the way, because the stocks have been selling off internally all day. The breadth's getting worse, and the VIXs are acting they're down, but they're not down by much, given how much up we are today. And if there is a sort of a sharp sell-off here, the VIX could actually go higher. But these fellows believe that the 2015-16 bottom is really the beginning of a 15-year bull market. So this is a bifurcated market. We had from 9 to 15, 9 to 14, and 16 to potentially 2030 is where we could go over the next the foreseeable period. So I would remain pretty bullish in the future.
Yeah. When do we start feeling pressure from these midterm elections? October, November?
You know what could happen? Probably later this week or next week. We could, you know, when the markets are getting a lot of publicity, you know, like maybe they're going to come out with a cover or something of Time or something like that and put the stock market on it. That could be bad. And you know, I think there's going to be some sort of a pullback before the election, just very similar to 2016. Not particularly harsh, you know, a kind of a gradual pullback. I guess the worst case scenario is we could pull back from this upward trend down to you know, somewhere like a zigzag, an ABC kind of a correction. If we were to have a C wave off this top, it would probably be devastating and pretty scary, and so it could come out of nowhere. And you know, there's a few things out there. This Iranian situation is cooking, you know, heating up again. You still got the Syria problem. Korea is not going as well as expected. You know, there's a few things that could provoke a correction, and you never know. The Fed raises rates at the next meeting. That could actually knock the market down for a while too. So we'll have to see how it plays out. But you know, congratulations on the trades you put on yesterday. There were great results. And we were right there with you. We were basically, you know, I've had a kind of an automatic buy signal out on these markets right up until today, just to capture the upside, any new highs that are made, and it kind of works well when we're in an uptrend.
Okay.
The other thing is, we were talking about the oil getting stronger, and the oil is starting to look very, very bullish. The oil's up today, and it's back to 69. I think we're going to be in the 70s again soon, and that's unusual for this time of the year in the oil sector. And the gold right now, the gold stocks are at the highest they've been in a couple of weeks. They're not really getting out of this range just yet, because the gold price itself is not high enough to pull the gold stocks back up. But it's kind of crazy, you know, when you see this thing we're going to go through tomorrow, and you realize that, you know, we're like way higher today than where we were in 2008, 2009, when the gold last had a big sell-off, or 2016. It doesn't make sense why the gold stocks are where they are today, to be honest with you. It's kind of crazy. So this is a complete anomaly of what's happening with the metals, but you know, we'll have to see how it unfolds from here. But obviously the dollar is going to be a big part of it, and inflation is going to be the other part of it. So
their time to shine will come.
Yep. Listen, thanks very much for the invite, Dwayne.
Thank you, John. Have a good day.
Well, you too. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, guys, we'll run through this real quick. Let me take care of John's mic for him. And he'll be free to move about the cabin. There we go. Very good. Oh gosh, I forgot to open the chat box. Man, I am sorry, guys. I suppose I could say, you guys got to remind me, but if I don't have the chat box open, I guess you can't remind me. Plus, I lost my phone. I didn't lose it. I dropped it, and it won't come back on. And, well, needless to say, a person runs their business, lives their life off their phones these days, so not good.
Well, let me see. I can read the questions. It's Friday, but John left.
I just opened it, but thank you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay. No, I was just going to help you. I was just going to help you if you
I
needed.
appreciate it.
Okay.
No, Daniel. However, if you talk to Michael, there is an opportunity to merge those two together.
Yeah,
we
that's
got an offer for that.
I typed
So,
in it.
yeah, he'll talk to you about it.
Here, Daniel, I'll type in
Oh,
my phone
Frederick,
number.
I am so
give me a
sorry.
call.
Frederick, let me make a big note. Yeah, you did ask me, and I didn't, and I just opened the chat box. Frederick, do you have his email address? Because if you ask him, he'll respond to you. I don't know if you have it or not, or if you want it, I'll type in the box. Nobody sees what I type. I know he'd be happy to speak with you if you want to talk. Yeah, Daniel, mentoring does. Yeah, mentoring does. So all you got to do is just get a hold of me, or go and book it, please. And oh, I misspelled it. Hang on. Did you give him the link for the mentoring? Oh, I'll do it.
Okay.
Okay, Frederick, that's for you. And then Daniel, I'm going to give you the link. Oh, they were saying the other day, I got to put that HTTP business in front of it. You know, sometimes you call up the old GoDaddy. I've been a customer of theirs for 22 years. 22.
22 years.
Yeah, since 96.
Wow.
And that's a lot.
Yes, that is a
You know
lot.
what I'm saying? It's a lot. Now, anyway,
They should send you
I've been
something
having
to put on your desk.
having an issue with them over the SSL certificate on, well, there's a whole mess, but besides the whole mess, there's a new mess that I was having with the Emini tradingsystem.com site. And when you call them and you punch all the right buttons to get to the SSL guy, it's like, okay, I pay you $200 a year, you know, to cover, I think it's 3 or 4 different sites, but they go all secretive, like, oh, well, you know, we can't touch it, and we can't do anything, you know, we can send you articles. And so Friday night I was up from midnight till 1 a.m. on hold, because I tried earlier and they were very busy, you know, and they were helping other customers make their statement on the web, or however that stupid thing goes. I heard it so many times I should remember it, but it's the middle of the night. I'm spending like an hour on hold. I can't get hold of anybody. So Saturday afternoon I called and I hit the lottery. This guy, I said, hey, blah blah, this is my problem. He goes, oh, let me look. I said, you know, I know what you're going to do. You're going to send me the article. I've already written the code for the HT access file, and but blah 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 blah. And he goes, hang on. He goes, okay, refresh your browser. And I refreshed it, and I'm like, it just works. He goes, that's how it should be. Anything else? I'm like, no, hang on. Like, you're King Midas. You got the golden touch. How come the other people there can't do this kind of thing? You know, I mean, you just, you know, you laid hands on it and it was healed. And he's like, no, there was just, you had 3 extra letters in your code. I took them out. I go, why couldn't other people? He goes, I don't know. Is there anything else I can help you with? I said, well, yeah, as a matter of fact, now that I got you on the phone. So I said, what is it with the other people? Is it the rules? Or he goes, truth is, most of them just don't know. He goes, they lay it off to it's the rules, they can't do this or that. And he goes, but truthfully, they just don't know. So I'm like, oh, well, at least they have a phone. I mean, at least you can call them in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
These doggone businesses, internet businesses that don't have telephones and it's all got to be done on support tickets, that's just archaic, barbaric.
Yes.
I think I'm just going to get my iPhone 5 out of the safe and just, I'm going to try to poke my SIM card in it from my broken phone, and that should work, right? I probably got to call them and give them the EMI number or something, but
no, I think it should work.
I'm going to try it. They told me they would give me because I've been a customer for so long, that they would give me, well, first she said, if you want to buy an iPhone 8, it'll only cost you $20 a month because you're no longer on contract. I said, well, okay, 20 something, almost 30. She goes, but the good news is if you buy one, we're going to give you one free. Well, that's appealing. She said, and then when I was like, you know, I don't know if I want to go back on contract again. It's like it took so many years to get off, and she said, well, as one of our better customers, blah blah blah, we'll give you a special edition at no charge, free. You simply have to activate another line of service. I go, but I don't need another line of service. So anyway, we went round and round, and she wore me down to the point, and she was so nice and so polite, and I just told her, I said, you know what, you've wore me down. I'm exhausted. I'm too tired to make a rational decision of any kind right now. And she said, okay. And the reason I originally called is I just wanted her to forward my phone calls from my dead phone to this little Captain Kirk flip phone that we've had around forever. And at the beginning of the call, she couldn't do it. But by the end of the call, oh, that's all you wanted? Oh, here. Here. Let me call you. Bing. She dials my number and the flip phone rings. So, I don't know. So anyway, my calls are being forwarded for the moment, but not text messages, so I don't get texts. Dwayne had a question. I'll let you answer that, because I'm going to tell the people about the good word for the day.
Okay.
Oh, I was going to run through these real quick. I'll do that while you tell him. On the S&P 500 last night, the concierge trade alert, the email that went out said to consider buying 28.85, ran up 13 points at $50 per point so far. And all these zones are last week's zones. Partners got the zones this morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. I show them to everybody else each and every Thursday. The Dow, last night's email said to consider buying 25,860, and it ran up 222 points. It's about $1,000 per contract on the Dow, $5 a point. And the Russell, consider buying 1732, ran up to 1740. That was 8 points at $50 a point, or $400 per contract available. Crude, it was a stop out, and then the short side was a stop out, and then I think you could have eked out a couple $100 here and a couple $100 here per contract, and now it's trying to do it again. So that's crude. Bonds, we did not trigger on the long side. The short side, the email said consider selling 145.15. When I measured it, we had dropped 12 ticks at 31.75 per tick. Now it looks like it may have dropped another tick or two. So that's about close to $400. Gold, we said to consider selling 12.10, and that one little ticky right there, and that could have stopped you out unless you have some other method of getting triggered in. And it said to consider buying 12.17. Ran up all of $180 per contract. And the NQ email said consider buying 75.28. We ran up $800 per contract from 28 up to 62. $20 a point, 40 points, $800 per contract available. And everything's starting to walk sideways here. NQ's going sideways. Russell just flat out dropping. Russell may be leading the pack if we're headed to the downside. Sideways on the Dow. And the ES pulling back to last week's zone at 95.96. And Michael, you still there?
I'm here.
Do you
I
see
gotta
that
run
last
in a
question
minute,
of
Yeah,
Daniel's?
I'm doing it right now.
Okay,
I'm doing it right
thanks. Appreciate that. I thought I put him on the list. Maybe I didn't. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Change can begin with you.
There.
I'm not talking spare change. I'm talking real change. Judges 6:26 says, "Build an altar to the Lord your God." We may all be aware of individuals who have done something really wrong and then try to hide it or lay the blame off on somebody else. Often we might try to excuse ourselves by saying that our shortcomings are hereditary. Yeah, I've always said that I had a shallow and murky gene pool. Yeah. Or we might try and blame our faults on the past. It's the way I was brought up. I didn't know any better. It's not my fault. We may even try to cover up mistakes that our family has made in the past, thinking that it somehow reflects badly on us. When it comes to your upbringing and family tree, sometimes you can't do better than learn from it. But by God's grace, you can do a lot about your future. Parents may have stumbled in spiritual blindness, but you can walk in the light of God's Word. And you can take your family with you. Gideon, an Old Testament hero, well, he was an unlikely hero. He didn't want to be a hero. God boxed his ears and made him a hero, but a hero nonetheless. Now, Gideon grew up in a family of idol worshippers. It was a cultural thing. Everybody did it. But God had plans for Gideon, so the angel of the Lord visited him one day and said, "Tear down the altar of Baal that your father has and build an altar to the Lord your God." It's Judges 6:25 and 26. Now, back in the day, that wasn't an easy thing for Gideon to do. And also, by nature, if you read about Gideon, he was a fearful person. He was full of what ifs. Well, what if this, God? And what if that? And God had to walk him through all this. He even made his men lap water like a dog just to prove a point. He was really after Gideon's heart. When he stepped out in faith, fearful guy, didn't want to do it, tried 9 ways a Sunday to talk God out of it. God would not let up. And so he stepped out in faith, obedient to God, and well, no good deed goes unpunished, right? Townspeople wanted to kill him. But because Gideon said yes to God, he ended up changing his entire family. So the word for you today is this: change in your family can begin with you. We're always praying for God to change somebody else. God, I sure wish you'd fix her or fix him. You know, why don't we just pray that God fix us? If he fixes us, I think everything else will probably work out. The change in your family can begin with you. Indeed, if not you, then who? All right, that's our good word for the day. Closing, guys, you all know my story, the reluctant dad and all that good news. Kind of had a blow up and a blowout, and whatever you want to call it, with my son Gabe yesterday, and It's coming up on 24 hours since I saw him last, so you guys keep him in your prayers. That he'll be safe wherever he is. I appreciate it. He's only 16. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Whoever you are, wherever you are, God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.